Hey traders, Raghee here, and in this free update, let's take some inventory about where we are right now as we're really completing the first week of March. We've got non-farm payrolls in our rear view. We know that the Fed's going to be hiking in about 8 days. We still have this ongoing geopolitical situation, and here the Nasdaq is retesting the bottom, and it feels like a very difficult environment to be a trader within. And really what I want to do in this update, and I don't know, it might run a little bit long, so maybe get some pen, paper, and get comfortable. But what I want to make sure that we do is sort of discuss what we're dealing with right now and start looking at not just where to look, but how to look at it. The how might be even more important in this discussion. So the how is not that complicated. The how is, first of all, and you know what? I'm going to get the notepad out because I think it's going to be really important that we take some notes here. And the how really starts off with, are you prioritizing the trends, right? You, me, if we're trying to find success as a trader, are we prioritizing trends? And so you might say, well, Rog, trends in this market, they're there, up and down, up and down. Now, the idea behind why a trend is the best environment for a trader, well, I don't need to tell you all. You know what you were able to do in 2020. You know what you were able to do through 3/4 of 2021. But of course, this market is different. For some of you, this might be the first time you've dealt with a geopolitical situation like Ukraine. It might be the first time you're dealing with a downtrend. A downtrend is not sort of a smile turned into a frown. It's not a smile upside down. It has a lot more volatility, but we recognize it in the same way. We use the grab candles, right? We use the wave, right? We use the grab candles and we use the wave. And so the first thing we need to remember is prioritizing trends up and down, use the grab candles, use the wave. If we see more than 8 to 10 red grab candles in a row, if you don't already have a trend, you clearly probably have directional bias. The next thing you want to actually look at, we haven't talked about this in a while because we haven't dealt with much more than uptrends for the past, say, 16 or 18 months, right? This chop, this weakness is fairly new when you think about what's been happening the last, 2020, 2021. Whenever you're looking at a daily, ask yourself, is it above or below the 200 period exponential moving average, a 200 EMA? SMAs are fine, but EMAs for me are better. You know that my wave is a 200 exponential moving average. So I like EMAs. I use the 200 EMA, the 55 EMA, of course, the 34 EMA, which is the wave, the 21 and the 13. We even look at the 8. Right? But I use propulsion dots for those. Don't worry about that for now. But simple question, is price action above or below the 200 EMA? And the 200 EMA is something I call the equator, right? Bullish or bearish hemisphere all depends on whether or not we're above or below the equator, right? So that's what I'll call the equator. It's very important because the sentiment below the 200 is very different. The aggression for shorts below the 200, take a look at the Nasdaq here, very different. How about the S&P? Below the 200, we're going to see rejection at that level. What about something like, let's take the opposite side of this. How about gold? I know gold's moving higher, but do you see that once gold got above the 200, I'm in no way saying that's why we're accelerating higher. We know why we are accelerating higher. But how do you keep yourself from getting hurt, preventing yourself from being short in an environment where it's much more primed to move higher? We were above that 200. Here's your 200 right there. We were above it, right? So this is a great way to sort of get your bearings as you're understanding not just trend, but sentiment. Okay, what about something like corn? I know, really sexy markets that everyone thinks about, but think about how long corn has, well, it battled with it back in October. The battle was won by November, and we were already buying dips in corn. And then, of course, the parabolic move happened. But notice how often those parabolic moves happen in uptrends, and uptrends happen when we are in that bullish equator, bullish part of the hemisphere, above the equator, above that 200. Really important basic stuff. Okay, and then the last part is really we have to separate chop from trends, right? The last environment that we're looking at is chop, right? And really in chop, we're looking to fade or sell into ceilings, right? And buy into floors using a slow stochastic. I like to use a combination of the slow stochastic and our Darvis, right? And our Darvis 2.0. All of these are free tools, gang. All of these are free tools. We make these available to members in the rooms. And then if you are not a member, or the slow stochastic you can set up, on your own. I've shared that setting many, many times. And if you haven't checked out countdowntrader.com, you can download the free tools that I'm talking about there, right? It's really important to me that you have a way to get your bearings, get your sea legs in this market. Once you have these basics down, you're at least going to be pointing in the right direction. You're going to be trading with the trend. You're not going to be trying to find tops and bottoms. You're not going to be frustrating yourself with confusing a trend versus chop. It's a lot easier to see trending markets with the grab candles. It's a lot easier to see chop when you see the blue work its way in consistently into the candle. So that blue, red, green color codes what the trend and the sentiment chop versus trend is. All right. So check that out, countdowntrader.com. Now I know a lot of you already have these tools, right? If you don't, go grab them. So the other market I've been getting a lot of questions about, of course, is crude oil. Again, you can see now at this point, you're going to say to yourself, got it, Rag. Green candles. We've been north of the 200 since, oh my gosh, the end of December. Why on earth would anybody be anything but long crude? And then, of course, here comes a geopolitical acceleration, that parabolic market. Everything that I've shown you in this video, from the NASDAQ short to, we played some sectors, we're long crude, we're long oil stocks. These are all setups whose foundation was this set of sort of getting your sea legs in this market, understanding where you are. And of course, I know a lot of you know, and if you don't, tomorrow at 8 o'clock Eastern, tomorrow, Wednesday, March 9, we're going to be doing a webinar that shows you a lot more of what I've been doing with these tools. We're going to get into a little bit of intraday trading examples. Yeah, with these tools, 200, wave, grab, the Darvis. We're going to get into sectors, individual stocks that we've bought, everything from dips in Mo, dips in XLE, shorts in Nike. We're going to get into all that stuff tomorrow. So if you're wondering, all right, Rag, I kind of get what you're doing here, but I'd love you to put the pieces together. That is happening tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Let me tell you what this is not. You already have the indicators, so this is not going to be a pitch for a new secret squiggle. You already have them. This is not a class. This is not a Saturday class coming up. I've had a mastery now for a little over a year and a half, where we set up trades across all the markets that I've just talked about, mostly on a daily time frame. It doesn't require but about 45 to an hour a day to set the trades up, set up the alerts, determine your position sizing, things like that. So I'm going to walk you through what we've been doing in the mastery, how we have been just slaying 2022 after I had a really difficult start to the year. In fact, I'm going to talk about the first, I think, 4 or 5 trades. I think actually I knew I had 4 losses in a row. It might have been 5 to kick the year off, and then how we paused, got our bearings just as I've shown you in this video. And we got our bearings and then realized, okay, we need to wait until things clarify. And then since the 26th of January, we're in an 80+% win rate. I think we've had a total of 4 losses in almost 24 trade alerts, right? How are we doing that? It starts with that step 1, 2, 3 that I've shared with you there. Hope to see you in the webinar tomorrow. And even if not, start with these tools. Head on over to Countdown Trader. Get your bearings. I'll see you in Charts and Coffee tomorrow, 9 a.m. Be good to each other, gang. Hey traders, Raghee from Simpler Trading. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to leave a like and a comment below. And remember, subscribe and click the bell icon so you'll get notified of the next update. And when you're ready to join me for live trading, be sure to head on over to simplertrading.com. I'll see you in the next update.